Hello, and for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kinoko, and I am one of the artists and developer of Shards of the Artisan. And today I thought I would just give you a very brief overview of the basic rules for the game. I have on the Kickstarter kind of gone into a little bit of details about a basic rule, but I thought it'd probably be easier to sort of show you how the game is played. So I've set up this little test in Tabletop Simulator. This is very new to me, and the cards that you'll see are all work in progress. So bear with me as I go through the basic rules, and hopefully I can explain essentially how you would play. I will be making available as well a list of the basic rules as they stand currently, with the understanding that obviously these are all rules that we need to go into some more details with playtesting as we develop this. And I think the core there is good, but perhaps between you and me, backers of the Kickstarter, we can just smooth out any wrinkles that there might be there. And as always, feedback more than welcome. So let's just have a quick look at the game itself. So the initial starter deck that you'll get is comprised of 55 cards, 3 of which are the persona cards, which are your kind of like the generals or the leaders or the people that the artist that you're fighting for in the duel that you're going to be commencing. And so those are 3 of the cards. The other cards are made up of 37 character cards that are going to be sent out to duel the characters of your opponent. And there are also 15 ally cards. And these ally cards are basically boosters to your characters or your persona as well. And they will allow you to enhance their abilities. Now, there are other abilities or other enhancements that come into play as well. The one most notably that I've mentioned on the Kickstarter, which is the signing bonus, which essentially is you taking your card to a convention, MCM or the like, and getting your special card that has the signing bonus available on it signed by one of the artists. So, for instance, if you found my card, which is probably Kinoko, who is myself, you can bring it to me at Artist Alley and I would sign the card for you, and that will unlock a bonus on the card and that will give it a boost as well. So the game is very much aimed at sort of strategy and the way that you would play these bonus points to boost your cards, as well as having a little bit of skill and a little bit of luck with dice rolls. So the core of the game for us to start with is made up of this initial deck. So in the game here, let me see if I can work my way around it. So I've got the very basic board laid out for you here. Now, you don't have to have one of the play mats. This is just really to show where the layout could be. But you know, it's nice to have these sort of things laid out for you. So I'll just quickly show you this area. So over here, we've got the positioning for your deck of cards. In the center here is where you will have your persona card, which are the 3 cards over here, which I'll show you in a second. To the right is the discard pile, which we are calling the the shattered, the fragmented shards. They all go into this pile here once you've used them. The 4 spaces at the front here are going to be your character positions or your duel positions, and this is where you'll be able to lay out up to 4 character cards to duel the opponent. And the 5 spaces at the bottom here are there to sort of help organize essentially the different ally cards that you'll have. So each one of these is the 5 abilities that your cards, your characters, and persona have. So from left to right, we have got agility, vitality, luck, magic, and charm. So you can place your cards as you pull them out of here and put them in these positions, and it's a way of you just sort of keeping a tally of where you've got your points and where you can use them. So let us start by having a look at the persona cards. So here we have 3 persona cards. Now these may not be the persona cards that are in the deck. We still decide that with the artists that we've got on board. But these are 3 that I've put into the game currently to have a little look at. So Let's take these cards. So we've got Luna. We have got, take this one, Fake Kinoko, which is my card. And we've got Amai, which is Chow Illustrations. And sorry, I should have said Luna is Chow Cherry Rabu. So these cards are your generals or your cards that you're going to be picking for your duel. So these are the ones that are going to be who you're fighting for, your favorite artist perhaps, or just you're the leader that you want to use as part of your duel. So each of these cards has their stats listed on here, the same as other cards, but they're horizontally set, so they look different from the normal character cards. They also have the little crown, and also they have a special ability. So let's have a quick look. Let me zoom in here. Yeah, here we are. So here's Fake Kinoko. This is the card. Again, these may change, but this is what we've currently got at the moment. So when Fake Kinoko loses a confrontation, they may roll their dice again, but must take the second roll. So obviously we've got some special abilities there. Again, how you use that in the game is completely up to you. We'll have a look at a couple of the other ones that I've done here. Again, I've got to create more for all the different personas, but these are the ones I've currently come up with. So for Amai, once per duel, Amai may sacrifice any ally currently in play to force their opponent to re-roll their dice. Useful one there. And for Luna, at the beginning of a duel, Luna may exchange one ally card currently in play with one in their fractured shards. So, at the beginning of the game, the main thing you want to do is pick either the artist that you prefer, the one that you want to support, the one that has the best special ability that you think that would help you in the game, or you can purely go off the whatever stats they have on their cards. As you can see, the stats for these cards are all the same at the moment because this is obviously just a demo and we need to figure out those the numbers there later on. But for now, this is how the cards are laid out. So let's go back to our board here. So I am going to pick myself. I'm going to put myself in the middle of the board there. So now I am the persona card. So your opponent would reciprocate and do the same thing. They would pick their one and that would set the beginning of the game. The rest of your cards that are here are your character cards and your ally cards. It's a mix. You can decide the mix that you want in there, which again allows you to customize the deck. So if you wanted to have more characters that you've collected, perhaps you've got some signing bonus ones in there. Perhaps you've got some cards that your favorite characters that the artists have drawn. Maybe you've been lucky enough to get your own OC into the card game. Maybe you got one of the artists to draw your cards as well. That's the nice thing with this game, is that I wanted it to be accessible to all artists who can come and put their characters in, but also so they can offer you as players, whether you're artistically inclined or not, to be able to actually get your character in the game. And this is a way of doing it, and that would be through ally cards, which are essentially fans of the artists who are helping to fight or boost them and their OCs in the game itself. So, beginning of the round. At the very start, we have on the very first go. Obviously, we need to shuffle our deck. So let's give it a couple of shuffles. Shuffle. All right, that's good and shuffled. Very well done. So to begin with, you can draw 3 cards up into your hand. Now, on the very first turn, if you draw your cards and there is 1, 2, or even all of the cards that you don't want to start with, perhaps you've picked, based on the shuffle, you've picked up, 3 ally cards and you don't have a character card that you want to play on that first turn, you can return it to the bottom of the deck and you can then take another card off the top. You can only do this once, but that would allow you to sort of have another chance to draw the cards that are more favorable to yourself. So let us draw 3 cards. So draw and draw again. It's probably a quick trigger for this, but I don't know what it is in this system. Right. Okay. So we have our cards. So I have got, and you see they're all called name at the moment because we haven't labeled them. But at the moment, these are the 3 cards that I've currently got. So I've got 2 character cards. I've got this character card here that is being created by Kroov. This actually is one of my characters, which is a slime girl, and we've got an ally card. Again, this is one of my pieces of artwork, temporary artwork that's on there at the moment, and this is one of the ally cards, which I was saying, which is the booster card. So At the beginning of the game, we have our 3 cards. I'm happy with this. I don't need to return any back. This is fine for starting off. And so now we would roll the dice to see who starts. So of course your opponent would do the same thing. So we roll a dice and I get a 1. So I'm probably not going to go first. But in this scenario, as I'm on my own and we're just going through the basic rules, I'm going to say 1 is high enough to win. So I'm going to play the game. So to start with, we go into the first round, which is normally the gather round. At the start of the game, we've already done that. That's already been completed at the beginning by drawing our cards. So we don't need to gather. But on a normal round, gathering would allow you to draw up to 3 cards. And I say up to 3 cards because you can choose to only draw 1 card, 2 cards, or the maximum, which is 3. It's up to you. The reason for that is because, as the game states, the whole idea is to deplete your opponent's deck as you go along. But as you draw, you'll obviously slowly lower your own. And so it may be that if you have been losing duels and your card deck is being depleted, you might not want to take as too many cards into your hand. You've always got your persona card to fight for you, and obviously any character cards that you have on the table can continue to fight, so you don't necessarily need to draw up into your hand, but you have the option to do so. Some people like to have the full hand and be able to make those sort of decisions as they go, or you may, if you've put a lot of ally cards in there, you might want to keep pulling those out to be able to bolster your next fights. But obviously you don't want to deplete your own deck, so you can draw up to that many each turn. So once you've done the gathering phase, the next phase is the bolster phase. So looking at your hand, if either of you or the opponent on this turn have any ally cards, you can place them onto the table into play. Only 1 card can be placed at the start of the game. Or on your start of your turn. So we'll look at our cards here. I have got a magic card here, so I'm going to drop that into the magic pile there. There's my 1 card played. The opponent would obviously reciprocate, and if they had any, they could put them down as well. Now we move on to the positioning phase, which essentially means that we look at our hand and we are allowed to play a character card onto the table. So as these cards are just demo cards, they don't have any signing bonuses, the stats are the same, so we have no advantage over using either of these cards. So pick one, here's my card, whack, put it down there. You can put it in any of these 4 possessions. I just going to be favoring the left-hand side. So there is my card in the character slot position, and the opponent would look at their hand and they would pick a character card and they would put it in one of their 4 slots there as well. So first duel that comes up is the character duel. Now, I won't go into any of the more extended rule sets because this is just a brief overview of how you would play the round at the moment. But if your opponent did not have a character card, you would skip the character duel phase and you'd move it on to the persona duel. But for now, we're going to assume that the opponent does have a character card. So we look here, zoom in a bit here. So I've got my character card ready to go. Well, assume that the opponent's got one there. And so it's up to me, as it's my turn, to decide how to start the character duel. So I basically get to decide on the rules of the duel, as it were. So what that means is we pick one of the stats, the 5 stats that are there, and that's the one I'm going to use to commence the duel. So we're looking at the card here, zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so I've got 3 for agility, 4 for vitality, 1 for luck, 2 for magic, and 4 for charm. So I can pick any one of these. Now, obviously, the thing you would normally do is you pick the one that is the highest number, because that would give you the best chance of winning the game. However, you have to think a bit more strategically than that, because once you've used a stat in a duel, and assuming that you win, when you go on to do the next duel, you cannot use the same stat that you've used in the previous duel. So using your highest stat now, before you actually get to fight the persona, might not be the strategy you want. You might want to use a lower one, hope to get through, and then you can use your stronger ability. Of course, if you're fighting a persona card that has a matching or has a stronger ability than you, then you might want to change that thought. But of course, if you've got any signing bonuses or if you've got anything else that you can add to this. So for the moment, let's have a little look here. So I actually have, what's these cards doing over here? They're going a bit crazy at the moment. So I've got a magic bonus. I've got a +1 to my magic. So that's something to consider. But for this first round, we're just going to play it simple. We're not going to use any add-ons. So we're going to use the card as it is intended. So we are going to have a look at fighting. And I think I'm going to pick... what did I say I was going to use here? Let's see. Let's use Vitality. We use the Vitality to attack. Okay, so I commence the duel. I say, right, we're fighting with Vitality. So both myself and the opponent look at our cards. We find out what Vitality stat we've got. We then take our dice, give it a good shake, and we roll. And I got a 6. Fantastic. So 4 + 6, that makes 10. So my score is 10. Now, if I had a signing bonus, I could add that on. If I had a Vitality ally card, I could add that onto it as well. But in this case, we're just going to go straight. So I have got 10. The opponent would then roll their dice. They would add their stat to the stat that we've picked, which is Vitality. Whoever has the highest number is the winner of the duel. So let's assume I've maxed my roll out, and I've got 10, and the opponent got 9. So I win the duel. Their character card then goes into their fractured card pile, and I have won the duel, and they now do not have any character cards on the table. Once I've won this, I then go on to the next round, which is the Persona duel. Now, if they had any other character cards still on the table, I would then do another character duel, and I would keep going until I lost the duel. Once I've lost the duel, we then go into the end phase, and then it becomes the opponent's turn. So I've won. They've got no more character cards there on the table. We now move on to the Persona duel. So the Persona duel is very similar to the character duel, but this time I'm attacking their persona itself, which is the one in the center. I've already used Vitality as my last duel, so I cannot use the Vitality against them. So I have to pick one of the other ones. So my charm ability is the next highest one, so it would probably be a good idea to do that. Or I could use the magic one, which is only 2. However, I do have this +1 here as well, which I might need to use on the roll. So I could add that on. I think strategically it's probably better for me to go for the bigger number to begin with. So I'm going to go with my charm ability, and we start the same process. So I start the duel by saying that I want to use charm as my attack. The opponent now looks at their persona card, and they look here and they go, okay, I'm going to look at here. Oh, my charm is also 4 as well. So the opponent looks at that. If they have a special ability, and we're not going to go into the special abilities right now, but if they had a special ability that could be used here, they could use it at this turn. So we do the very similar thing. Roll the dice. I roll the dice. The opponent rolls the dice, and we see what we've got here. So I've got 4 and 4, which is 8. I don't have a bonus. I don't have any bonus cards. I don't have a signing bonus or anything. So my maximum is 4. If the opponent persona cards matches that, then we're at a draw. We're at stalemate, and that's the end of the round. If the persona card is higher than mine, then I would move my character card into the fractured card pile, and the end of the turn would happen, and it would turn to their phase. However, if I win, which is obviously the goal, we then go into the depletion phase. What this means is the persona has lost the round, and whatever the difference was between the two the two maximum attack rolls, so in my case it was 8. Let's say they got 7 when they rolled their dice and they added their number up. They got a 3, and they also had a 4 to add to it on the card, so they got 7. So there was a difference there of 1. I've got 8, they've got 7. There is a difference of 1. What that means is they would then take one of their cards off the top of their pile. That's all of them. I don't want to do that. Let's just take one. There we go. And they would put it into their fractured pile, thereby depleting their deck by 1 card. Once that happens, we then go into the end turn, which means we then move the play from us currently playing onto the opponent's turn, and then we would start right at the beginning again, which is to do the gather phase. I've only got 1 card in my hand. I can choose that if I want to draw 1, 2, up to a maximum of 3 cards into my hand. One thing I will also say as well, if my character card has won the character duel, has won the persona duel, and then we've come to the end phase, and we now move. The player has moved on to the other player. My character stays in play. My character stays on the board and is available for me to use going forward into round. So if I was lucky enough to continue winning and I had and keep putting my character cards down there, I could max this out and have 4 character cards currently on there. Now that obviously makes the game slightly harder for my opponent, because they then have to work through that barrier before they can then get to my persona card. But that is the strategy of the game. Okay, so we'll play one more, or go through one more round, and we'll see what happens. So I'll leave that card there for the moment. All right, so it now moves on to my opponent's turn. I've got 1 card. I am going to draw another card. Draw. Okay, what did I get? All right, now I'm going to draw 1 more because I'm going to see if I can get another ally card. I didn't get another ally card. I've got 3 character cards. No problem. Okay, so that is the gather phase. Opponent would do the same thing. They would gather their cards. Then we move once they are happy, and we go into the bolster phase. I don't have any ally cards, so I can't put anything down. If they do, then they can put them down onto the table at this point. And then it is the opponent's turn to start the duel. So they would put a character card down on the table, and then I will pick one. Again, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to take Crew's card, and I'm going to put it down there as well. So they would have 1 character card at this point. I have got 2, and they would be starting off by telling me what they're going to do to attack. So they then start the duel. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, let's say that they use magic. I've got a 2 to magic on this card, but I also have a bonus here of 1 for the magic too. So let's say they roll the dice and they get, let's say they get 6. I'll roll my dice. Oh, I got a 6 as well. So 6 plus that 2 there, that's 8. So I'm going to win that round. I don't even have to use my bonus because I've already got high enough roll. But what if I got a low roll and I don't win that phase? So say they've got 3, and I've got 2 here, and I roll a 1, so I also get 3. I've got 2 options here. 1, I could use my my bonus card to win, and I can say, right, I'm going to use that, add it to that one there. I've now got 4. That beats you. So their character card would go into their discard pile, and then it would turn to the end of the phase, and it would be my turn. And I would take this card and I would put it into my discard pile because I've used it. However, if I don't want to use that ally card and I want to save it maybe for a later game, but it's a draw, what happens at that point is that both of our character cards that we're used in play leave the table and they return to the bottom of the deck. I can't put it on the bottom of the deck. Somehow I can, I'm sure, within Tabletop Simulator, but I'll put it there for the moment. So I'll say, if we draw the game, both of our characters will get exactly the same number. The opponent and myself will both take those cards that were in the duel and put them to the bottom of the pile, replenishing the deck, and we would then move on to the end phase. Let's say for this turn that actually I lost. So the opponent actually got 5 and I got 4. Even with my bonus, I wasn't able to get to win, and so my character is then done. With their character card in play still, they would then couldn't go on to go into the persona phase immediately because they would have to take out my other character card. So they start the next character duel as they did before. Now, they have already used magic, so they cannot use magic again, which is fine for me because that's one of my lower stats anyway. So they pick to do, let's say, to take agility instead. So again, they commence the duel, they pick agility, we roll the dice, I get a 5, I'm rolling high today. And so with my 5 and my 3, I got an 8. Now, let's say they win. Let's say they beat this card as well. Okay, they've killed another one of my characters. Not killed, they have retired one of my characters. So they've won 2 of those character duels. Right, so now they can go on to the persona duel. So they get to pick a stat and attack and commence a duel with my persona card. Now, they have already used agility and they've used magic, so they are now down to 3 options. They have to pick one of the other 3 on here. So let's say they're going to do vitality. All right, so here's my card. They're using vitality. I've got 4, they've got 4. We're going to roll our dice. Let's roll it. I get a 3. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we've got 7 on our roll. Now, If they got an 8, I could then use my ability. So when Fake Kinoko loses a confrontation or a duel, they may roll their dice again, but must take the second roll. So at this point, if they've got what did I say? They got an 8 and I've got a 7. That means that if I lose, that's a losing hand for me. That means I'm going to have to take one of my cards off in the depletion phase and put it into the fractured shards. So I could roll this dice and use my special ability to roll again and take the next roll and hope that I get a higher number, so I either win or we draw. Obviously, the risk of using this special ability for me is that if I roll lower than I've rolled at the moment, say I roll a 2, that means the difference between the 7 and the 8 we had would actually be a 6 and an 8, which means I would then have to lose 2 of my cards. So it's a gamble at this point of me deciding whether to do it. I'm going to take the gamble. I'm going to try it. I just dropped it. Let's roll it properly. And I get a 3 again. So it was the same. I still lose by 1. I got 7. They got 8. So there's still a difference of 1, which means the opponent has won the round. I have to take one. I have to take one card, put it in my fractured deck, and that is then the depletion phase over, and then it's the end of the turn. And now it would be the beginning of my turn again, which we would then go back to the beginning and we start the gather phase. And so the game continues essentially in this battle. If you win your duels, you continue and keep fighting until you manage to fight the persona. If you lose, your character then goes into your fractured pile, discard pile, and the game then moves over to the opponent. And if you draw, we go into the end phase, but the cards are returned to our decks and replenish our shard deck. So those are the very basic rules. There are obviously other rules and things to happen. For instance, if you happen to gather your cards and you don't have any character cards, perhaps you've only got ally cards, there are rules for what you do in that instance. There are rules if you go into a round and you don't have any characters and you have to then fight with your persona card rather than a character card. There are more rules for that as well. But I will leave that for another video. And hopefully what I've explained today has made sense to you. If it hasn't, then please let me know. I will make the full list of rules available, or the base rules available, so that you can have a read through yourself. But hopefully having this little sort of visual illustration to go with it has made a bit of sense of how the game is actually played. Obviously, I will go into more details and things about the signing bonuses and some of the other bonuses that you can get into the game as well. But as I say, we'll do that in another video. But thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments, please get in contact. And if you like the game, how it looks, whether you've already pledged or not to the Kickstarter, I would really appreciate it if you could consider pledging. If you have already pledged, I would love it if you would be able to spread the word, maybe share this video around, or point other people in this direction, because I can only make this game happen if we hit our goal. And really the whole crux of this is to, 1, provide you with a fun game to play, 2, to create a tradable card game that you're all looking forward to getting, because it has the involvement of your favorite artists, and also as a way of getting your own art into a playable card game, which isn't something that you can usually do. And the most overarching thing of this game is for the promotion of real artists with skill, who work tirelessly to create characters and illustrations and really put their heart and soul into this. And the more that we can advertise those artists, and the more that we can get their names out there, the more people can enjoy their creativity and the little bit of light that they bring to everyone's day-to-day life. I know that myself and the other 12 artists who are involved with this really do appreciate all the people that follow, who support, and who basically bolster them, very much like these ally cards do in the game, making us feel like our skills and our talents are appreciated, that we are able to produce artwork for you, and knowing that you're enjoying it as much as we've enjoyed creating it, really is this symbiotic relationship between us, and it's just great. It works out for everyone. We all win in that state. So yes, please support artists, support the game, and I will hopefully see you in another video. Thank you very much for watching.